Hey everybody, welcome to the Mama Can I Ask You Something podcast, a
Whoop, whoop.
faithfully becoming podcast where we are bringing our mother-daughter conversations
Yep.
to you. I am Ariah,
And I am Annettra, aka Reverend Nettie B.
period.
Period.
Okay. And so episode 1, this is our first episode. We are so excited, y'all, to
Yep.
bring this to y'all. This has been long overdue. Okay, we have talked about doing this podcast for at least the last year.
She's the reason we're here.
Okay, and so
Why are
let's
we
just,
here? Yeah.
yeah, let's just tell them like why we even decided to do the podcast. Like, what about our conversations do we feel like the world needed?
We just have real talk. And, we come from two generations and we
Different,
were different generations and we were raised completely different. And Ariah is always asking me questions. Mama, can I ask you something? So for the mothers out there, you already know when your child comes talk about, Mama, can I ask you something? You never know like what's about to come at the end of that. And so Ariah asks a lot of questions, and I give it to her real, raw, and uncut.
Sometimes too real, too raw, too
I
uncut.
don't sugarcoat because you know what? Nothing was sugarcoated for me. So I just believe that you give it to your children real and let them do what they're going to do with it. And so Ariah, we'd have these great conversations, and Ariah would be like, "Man, Mama, we should start a podcast. I just feel like our conversations would help so many people. So that's why we're here."
And I actually had my own podcast at first. It only had a few little episodes. It was called Girl Let's Go. And then me and my mom would have these great conversations. I'd be like, Mom, I got to get you on my podcast. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. But then it was just like, no, we need a podcast, okay?
Yeah.
Because, listen, me and my mom, we have a great relationship today. We have an awesome relationship, but it was not always like this.
No.
We definitely beefed a lot
Yeah.
during my teenage years. And
She was
so
hard. She was hard to raise, y'all. No, I'm just playing.
I was hard headed. But so I was like, the people need this.
Yeah.
Like, and I always say that one of my biggest advantages in life is that I had her as my mom. Like the way she just gave me game, the way she parented me and learned that I respond to things differently than her.
Yeah.
I approach things differently than her. All of that, I was like, man,
Yeah.
like I just wish people could have you as a mama. And so
She would say that all the time.
All the time.
I wish so many of my friends could have you as a mama. And so, our prayer is that through these conversations that young women her age will be helped, mothers my age will be helped, and will be able to take some gems and apply it for their life, but also to normalize the struggle, right? Because so often we go through stuff behind closed doors and we think it's just us. We think we're the only ones dealing with certain issues when we're raising our children, when we're just going through life, going through heartbreak, no matter what the situation is. And I think that through sharing parts of our story, me being raised in the streets, her not being raised in the streets, us coming into church two different ways, just the heartbreaks that we've experienced, the things we've tried in life. Ariah talked about her being hard to raise. We fought. You know what I'm saying?
physically.
So, mothers, if you ever had to put your hands on your teenager, listen, baby, you ain't by yourself.
And there's another but we came out on the other side is part of the point too.
Absolutely.
So it is not always just like, oh, everything which is always we definitely have our differences. And like even now, like when she talked about the church piece, like going into church completely different. I'm raised in church because of her. She was not.
I was not.
So that even when I went into adulthood and I left the house, it was different. Like at first, she would sometimes think that I kind of failed because I just kind of went when I left the house.
Well,
I kind of went, and then
I understood it, and you know what, we're getting into a whole other.
Yeah,
we're
we
getting
gonna
into
have a
another
whole
podcast topic.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna talk about that.
And see, she don't want this scripted, and I don't do well without kind of a script or thinking things through.
She's a preacher, so she likes scripts. She likes manuscripts.
No, I'm an introvert, and I need time to think through questions. And so, anyways,
we
here.
But y'all see,
we here.
This is why we're here. And also because I also wanted us to have something so people can see the difference with your approach to, like, our different approaches to the way we express our faith.
Yeah.
So, like, my mom isn't more and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you're more progressive in your theology, but still in some of your practices you're still very traditional.
Yeah.
Like in the practices.
Yeah.
Versus me, I'm not traditional at all in my practices. And so, but I still have relationships.
You do.
I still have great relationship, like, so I also wanted that to be something that people can take away from it, that it does not look one way.
Yeah, serving God, being a woman of God, being a woman of faith does not look one way. And we're constantly figuring that out. And so, yeah.
And so that's, y'all can see why we're here. Y'all see why we're here. Like,
yeah,
it's just me.
And we just hope y'all will tune in on Thursdays and just take this journey with us. And I remember the day I told Ariah, let's do it. I came across a picture on Facebook, and it said, be willing to suck at something new. And so I was like, all right, let's do it. And if it sucks, then it just sucks. But at least we tried.
Hey, y'all, it's Ariah. Don't forget to grab your copy of my ebook, Girl, Let's Go Today. In my book, not only am I vulnerable and honest about the things that I've been through, but I give practical tools to help you heal from your past, discover who you are, and decide what you want out of life. There's over 40 journaling exercises, there's a few meditation exercises, and I even give strategy to turn your dreams into goals and then break down your goals into tasks, okay? And so for our viewers, I have a special discount code, GOAL10, GOAL10, that'll get you 10% off at www.faithfullybecomingshop.com. We'll have the link in the show notes, and I'm so excited for you all to experience the book that I wrote. And let's get back to the episode.
So we're here. So what we doing?
Okay, so we want y'all to kind of get to know us a little more.
Episode 1.
You know, y'all need to get a glimpse into who we are. We will reveal more of who we are as we, go. And
as we share our stories.
And y'all tune in every Thursday.
Period.
And so,
we like Young Miami. That's why we say period.
Period. Period. Yeah. And also, listen.
Girl, come on.
Okay. I was just going to say real quick. Listen, Jesus turned water into wine, so if you ever see a wine glass right here, just know.
It's all good.
Listen, we both, I'm above 21, I'm 23.
Wine, coffee.
Listen, tea.
Come on.
All right. Mama, can I ask you something?
Girl, what?
Who's Annettra? Reverend Nettie B.
Oh.
Yeah, where we get the Nettie B from? Who is Annettra?
Who is Annettra? So, Annettra is a lover. I am a lover of God, a lover of people, a lover of my children. I love church. I love love. I will say that Annettra is a lover. Annettra is an introvert, and I know that most people don't believe that, but I am an introvert. I'm a woman of faith, and I like to think that I am a manifestation of God's grace and mercy, a walking miracle. And so, that's who I am. And who I am is different than what I do. So,
come on, you better say that.
Yeah. So, but I will also say I'm a mother of 3, and I am a nana of Isaiah. So yeah, babe, I'm a granny. I'm a granny. I'm a nan. I know I don't look like one, but I am. I love me some Isaiah, and I will say I'm a follower of Jesus. Period. Unapologetically, and um, again, I just love people. I love the church. I love serving God. Um, that's who I am.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah, that's who I am.
And I love that she highlighted that's who she is, and it's different than what she does.
Yeah.
Because in my book, in my book,
Get the book.
get the book.
You talk about what?
In the book, I do talk about how we can wrap our identity around the things that we do.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say, I'm a preacher. She
Yeah.
did mention that she's a mother because that is a big part of who you are.
Yeah.
But, sometimes we will wrap our identity around it when really
Around our occupations,
our
like our
occupations,
professions.
titles, just
Yeah.
all of that, when really you bring who you are
Yeah.
to those things.
Yeah.
So it's important to learn and
Yeah.
discover and be able to define
Yeah,
who
because
you are.
at the end of the day, if I wasn't a preacher, if everything was stripped away, at the core of who I am, I'm still a lover. I always have been, and so I think that for those who follow me on social media, the reason why when you look at my page, it don't look like I'm building a brand. I talk about, I post my kids, I post my grandbabies. I'm like,
Yeah.
you like, she love her babies. Yes, that's yeah.
Listen, I know all of our listeners are goal getters, okay? Whether your goal is to pass this semester in school, scale your business, become ordained, or even just to stay alive for the rest of this year, okay? All of your goals matter, and we're all just trying to make it one way or another. So join the Goal Getter Squad and get you some Goal Getter merch. For our viewers, we have a special discount for you. Use discount code POD15, that's POD15, for 15% off. We have hoodies, t-shirts, sweatshirts, even coffee mugs, okay? Go to www.faithfullybecomingshop.com to get yours today. Back to the episode.
Yeah. And so can I ask you something?
Go ahead, shouty.
Show the wop. So who's Ariah?
Child.
Besides my little lemon face baby.
Ariah is a hot man. No, I'm
No.
playing. Ariah is I don't know what a word for this is, so if you figure out a word for it, put it in the comments, hit me in my DM or something. But I am like a super wisdom seeker, as in, like, I find the meaning in the otherwise meaningless, and I'm always looking for the lesson in everything.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like on levels where it's like, bro, it should not be that deep. It's like that deep to me. That's who I am, and so I'm always. I'm a lover. I'm a lover too. I'm a big lover because I love my family.
Yeah.
I love my mama. Oh, and I love my little squishy baby. And when I do love, I love hard. And I'm also just very is I guess like a individualist. Like I just like doing my own like little thing. I'm also an introvert. I'm very much an introvert. And for those who don't know what an introvert is, it's not that you can't be around other people, but it's that to charge, you need to be by yourself. Being around a lot of people can be draining versus an extrovert that they get charged.
They get their energy
from being around other people. And so I also am very much so an introvert.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've faithfully become very spiritual, as in like just with routines and practices. So I do consider myself spiritual. I also am a believer and follower of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Let's get that clear. Don't get it twisted when you see me burning my sage. I love Jesus. Okay?
She said, I love Jesus.
Yes.
Me too, girl.
I love my ancestors, but I don't call upon them. I call on the name of Jesus. Let's just get
If
that
it
clear.
hadn't been for the Lord
Listen.
who was on my side,
So,
I don't know where I'd be.
yeah, what's funny is I feel like I didn't do that great of a job explaining who I am, but that, like, the wisdom part, that's just a big part of me. Like, I love knowledge. I love learning new things. I love learning through experiences. Like, my son could fall and get up, and I'm like, that's just how life be. Like, you just fall. Like, that's me. Like, so that's why, that's really who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And so for y'all, I know y'all we kind of really tapped into what they can expect.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have anything else that you think that they can expect from this podcast,
I think we have just talked about that. Just kind of just the real. You know what I'm saying? Authenticity, vulnerability, and I'd be interested in you all sending in any questions that you would like Ariah to ask her mama, or that you would like me to ask Ariah. Just any topics that you all would love to hear us talk about. And so, can I ask you something else?
go ahead.
All right. So, what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned this year?
Who 2022 kicked my behind?
Girl, yours and mine.
Listen, that was here.
Yeah.
I thought 2020 was no 2022. No, but the biggest lesson that I learned this year, the biggest lesson that I learned this year is that okay, I'm gonna use my example from my snowboarding example.
Okay.
That the falls in life are inevitable.
Come on, preacher.
Seriously, and I said I'm using my snowboarding examples because I recently went snowboarding and I kept falling and falling and falling. And my friend that was helping me, he literally was like, "Listen," when he was like, "Okay, you about to go by yourself," I was like, "I'm not ready," and he was like, "You know how to get up. As long as you know how to get up, you'll be okay."
That's good.
And so the biggest lesson that I learned this year, because we took some blows, we had a lot of unexpected things happen, and even when I just learned, the biggest lesson I learned this year is you have to learn what do you have to do to either reel yourself back in or pick yourself back up, like because the falls
in life are inevitable.
It's gonna happen. Like it's like when you come into when you dedicate your life to Christ. I'm gonna use me as an example. When I dedicated my life to Christ, I remember you told me that giving your life to Christ, having this walk, it's not that you won't have any trouble.
Right. Yeah.
But now I have something to lean on. I have something I have faith in. And so that was
anchor.
I got an anchor.
Anchor.
That's
Somebody
what I
call on. When you call,
Lord.
He hears you.
So that's the biggest lesson that I learned, is that you once you learn what you can do, learning what do I do to pick myself back up, because the falls are just going to happen.
The falls are inevitable, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, because often there is this false narrative of like, oh, you give yourself to Christ, I'm a woman of God, I'm not supposed to ever go through anything. And, nobody said that this road would be easy. Come on now, somebody.
Hey.
Amen. Like, the road ain't going to be easy, right? But God truly does not leave us nor forsake us. And so when I think about what would be the biggest lesson that I learned in 2022, and, child, I've learned that it's possible to have joy even in the midst of grief. So in 2022, I experienced grief in a way that I don't think I've ever experienced in my life. Like, it was levels and layers of grief. And I had to really wrestle with, especially as we entered into the Advent season, like, Lord, what does it really mean to have joy in the midst of all this pain, to have joy in the midst of like going through this season where it feels like the freaking bottom has fallen out, and I feel like I am off my center, off my game. I'm on social media being all vulnerable, like in ways, and I, like, how is it possible, God, to have joy in the midst of so much pain, so much death and suffering and uncertainty? And what I realize is that the situations that we go through in life, they can bring about sadness and unhappiness and depression. They can bring about grief. They can bring about us feeling inadequate and wondering if we'll ever be enough. And but all of those things are seasonal, right? All of those things, they have a beginning and they have an ending, right? The one thing about seasons is that seasons change. All of those things, they're also conditional. This feeling of sadness, this feeling of grief, it's conditional. It's based on whatever situation that I have just gone through. But what I have learned is that if I just have at least enough in me to look to God, right? That I can hold on to joy. Because those things are conditional. They're seasonal, they come and go. But joy is having a knowing. It's having a knowing deep down that, like, in spite of this, same God that helped me when I lost my sister is the same God that's going to help me when I lose, now that I've had to bury my daddy. The same God that that helped me last time when I was in transition is the same God that's going to help me this time. Like, joy is having a knowing. It's just, it's a knowing that, like, God is going to come through. It's a knowing that God is behind the scenes working all things together for my good.
Come
like,
on,
so
Romans 8:28.
as long as I can remember and know that God is with me and for me, and this thing don't last forever, I can still have joy, because the joy is that this trouble right here don't last always. And I think that's what I learned about 2022. Right? Because all the trouble that came, man, it's painful. Ugh, this is a painful year. But trouble don't last always.
Y'all see why she's reverend. Let it be.
Listen,
all right?
Trouble don't last always. So,
No, listen, I know they had to bless somebody else, because that show just blessed me.
Trouble comes, but it don't last always. Like, it never has the final say.
When you, just really quick, when you said that, just the knowing that the same God that did it for you when you lost this person can help you with that. My lover part of me, when it comes to like relationship stuff, I usually kind of take those L's hard. And I just recently, went through a transition myself, and I had to keep telling myself. I remember when I was in high school, and I was 16, and I still categorize that as like the worst breakup of my life. I ended up literally cutting my hair off. But I had like a really bad breakup, and I remember I could not see myself on the other side of it. Like, I took it so hard. And I had to remind myself that you came out of that, and life went on, and you were fine. And God had, like, you gonna get past this one too. So when you just talk about that knowing, and sometimes you just got to look back. Like, if you can't look forward, maybe just look back.
Look back.
Woo,
that's a word.
When you can't, because sometimes I can't see. I'm like, I don't even know what.
It feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what also, when we don't see light at the end of the tunnel, that is, why some people just really give up on life, and like, this pain's not going to go anywhere, so let me just check on up out of here. But being able to look back and have something to hold on to, having that knowing. And so you know, the saints would say, this joy I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away. You know what
She's
I'm
so
saying?
churchy.
And no, like seriously, the world didn't give it to me, the world can't take it away. And so this is Jesus' joy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Jesus joy.
Come on, JJ. This is Jesus' joy. This is Jesus'
I'm
joy.
weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah. So as you see, this is just kind of like how we roll.
And this is how our talks be, but we have so many topics that we want to cover, and that's why also we want to know what y'all want to hear from us as well. We will be covering like mental health on here deeply because
we'll be covering mental health.
But the reason why I'm saying it is because when we talk about us being raised differently and us being in two different generations, my mom, she did not have it all figured out learning how to parent me.
Yeah.
And mental health wasn't as talked about in your generation.
At all.
And they didn't have the name or the language for the things and, you know, the diagnoses and stuff like that. But in my generation, things are coming up. They have a name for it. She had to learn how to parent me. And so any mother or if you're the child and, you know, we had to cultivate that, and we are going to talk about that so that if you don't have a parent who's willing to understand, you know, we'll have some things, or if you're a parent and you're struggling with your child or you don't understand it, you know, we're going to talk about that, because when a part of when I say the reason why I'm happy that I wish that other people had you as a mom is because I know so many people that dealt with so much similar stuff as me, but they didn't have a parent that was that graceful or willing to open their mind or learn, or, you know, and so we're gonna talk about that.
Or a parent that's like, honey, you ain't going out this house. Listen, we're gonna scrap, we're gonna fight, and you're gonna go in your room.
Yeah, because she never gave up.
I would tell you all the time, I am not putting a bow on you and handing you to the streets because, honey, I traveled that journey. So you're not going to be out here, and you will not be for the streets at all in any kind of way. And,
well, I mean, when I left the house, I was for the streets. So look,
girl,
I'm not really playing,
but
well, nothing out there.
So
thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Mama Can I Ask You Something podcast.
Episode
1. Okay, we're gonna have all of our social media handles in the show notes. And if you haven't already, go grab you a copy of Girl Let's Go. There'll be a special discount code in the show notes as well for our viewers. And we're excited. And also let us know in the comments on Instagram or on our Facebook page. Write us, DM us, whatever. Let us know what nugget you got from this episode. Like, what
you're looking forward to.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, let us know what you're looking forward to, and
we'll see y'all next week.
Same time, same place.